I'm going to start off by saying is always have your driving license with you. I don't care where you're going. I don't care if you're going to Mama Mboga out there. Carry your driving license or your ID. Just carry it. Never walk without it. That's just my rule. I don't joke about that. Always carry your driving license, okay? Hi loves, welcome back to my YouTube channel. In case you are new here, you know to do subscribe, do all the amazing stuff. I'm so excited to be back. This is my new year. This is the first video I'm doing this year and I'm so excited and I just can't hide it. In case you're new here, you're like, who's this? It's me still, your favorite babe. So I just changed my name. I think I did explain it in the previous video. I just changed my name, but I'm still the same person, but I'm hoping to diversify my content more. So in case you are new here, or this is the first time you're bumping into my video, I just bought my first car in 2021, literally 1 year ago, because I bought it in December date 9. I cannot forget. Okay, I got it officially December date 9, but it's been a year of pure bliss, a lot of learning and everything. So I decided to like do a 1 year later, because it's technically 13 months since I bought it. I have a Nissan Note 2014 model. These are the 10 things I wish I knew before buying it, or things I've learned, okay? But these are just some things I felt like I needed to share it with you, because a lot of you guys DM me in regards to being first-time car owner, because we are at that age where a lot of us are buying our first cars and, you know, just doing all that. I always love getting the DMs about this. So always feel free to DM me in regards to this, okay? I have a notebook with my notes. If you're a first-time owner, first-time driver, so the first point, which I think it's so important and it's my most asked questions in the DMs, is the first time you drive a car in Kenya, you are going to be scared. Even wherever in the whole world, you are going to be scared. Your heart will be beating. You are going to be sweating. You will overthink. It's normal to do that. I also think, like, for me, an overthinker, it was like what the average person feels times 10, but take it a kilometer at a time, a mile at a time. Like, if you've been able to cover 1 kilometer, what's so hard about 20 kilometers, 11 kilometers, you know? And I feel like this is what I didn't know. I thought like the first day you're driving, it will just be like, oh, okay, I got this. But no, you'll be scared. You'll be scared, trust me. So allow yourself to be scared. And in regards to this, if you have the sticker for L Lana, leave it there for as long as you feel comfortable. Don't let people pressure you into removing it, but leave it there as long as you want, okay? Don't let people pressure you into removing it. Second thing I wish I knew, if I knew what I know now, I feel like I would have been a little bit more patient and I would have bought a locally used car, because I feel like that would have made me save so much money. Yeah. But at the same time, if you've watched my first video, you know that I'm a certified overthinker. So I kept on thinking about who am I going to ask to help me around, you know, like ask around for a better deal, you know, like ask around, go to different people selling cars and all that, so that I get a good deal. I never really had that person, but I feel like if you have a boyfriend, if you have a girlfriend who knows a lot about cars, you have a big brother, a sister, a cousin, you have that person who can go with you throughout, I'd definitely buy a used car. By used in this context, I mean used in Kenya. And by new in this context, I mean new in Kenya but used in Japan. You understand? That's what I mean in this context. So if I knew then, I would have definitely bought a locally used car, because I knew I'm not going to own this car for long. You understand? Like, it was not meant to be a car that I'm going to own for the next 10 years. I hadn't figured out, I knew for a fact I was not going to own this car for 10 years, so I would have saved a lot of money if I just bought a locally used car. Yeah, but then again, the bad thing about buying a locally used cars is, especially if you're buying a Kadudu, most likely you're going to get a car that maybe was used for taxi, you know, so you don't really want that, because most of the time people say that people sell their cars because they had a problem or something like that, you know, so getting that will be hard. But if you have a cousin, a friend, a brother, someone you know, and someone who knows the history of the car, selling the car to you, I'd definitely advocate for you to go for it. Yeah, so if you can't buy a locally used car, but if you can't, just buy a new car, you know, buy it. But you're going to save so much more money. So number 3 is whether you're going to finance the car or you're going to buy it on cash. I never really thought about it that way. Like, I don't know how oblivious I was. I just used to think everybody buys their car in cash. But financing is a good option if you don't have the full cash. And let's say, for example, maybe you do have 50% of the money, 40% of the money. You can make a down payment and then pay the rest of the money in installments. This is a very good option if, for example, let's say, for example, you have the full money. I'll be talking about a car costing roughly 1 million, which is the current price of a new Nissan Note if you're buying it now, a 2016 model. Okay. If you're buying a new car in Kenya, you know that a car is allowed to be not older than 8 years if you're importing it. So currently we are in 2023, so the car should not be older than 2015. You can't import or bring in a car from Japan or, okay, whichever country. Most of the cars in Kenya come from Japan. You can't bring in a car from 2014, 2013, you understand? It has to be 2015 upwards. Of course, the more you come closer to 2023, the more expensive the car is. So what most of the people do is they buy the car from 2015, as this applies to now. But you see, when I was buying the car, I got the 2014 model, but this was 2021, which means by that time my car was 7 years old. Yeah, I think it was 7 years old, correct? So you have to think about that. If you're going to finance a car in Kenya, it has to be 8 years old. You can't finance a car that is 10 years older. So banks tend to only finance a car that is recently, like 8 years and younger. You understand? From the example I've given you. So you have to think about that. So if you're going to get a car, for example, you're getting a 2010 Nissan Note, it may be something around 500k. The bank cannot finance that. But if you're buying a 2015 Nissan Note, the bank will finance that. So you have to think about that. So if you have to think about that, so think about your finances. If your finances allow you to buy a new car, buy that, because I feel like new cars tend to be less maintenance compared to used cars. Figure out what works for you. What works for me may not necessarily work for you, so you have to figure out what works for you. Okay, girl. The next point is related to my previous point, and it's a lot of people buy cars on loans. Why didn't I know this? A lot of people have cars on loans, and if they don't have cars on loans, they have put in the logbook to get a loan. So don't feel bad about getting a loan. Just my thoughts. Don't feel bad about getting a loan, but get a loan that you are sure you can pay the monthly installments. I don't want you to be harassed by the bank, being told to pay the payments, you know, all that. If you want us to talk more about financing, and I can just dig deep into it and talk more. If you've also bought your car on financing and all that, you can tell us your experiences and tell us the bank that you use to finance. See what it is they can learn from you. Let's learn from each other. Let's all learn from each other, okay? I did it personally, is ask friends, family, everyone. Ask them what they think about the car you are buying. Ask friends about cars, but this is a good and a bad point, because I feel like if you ask someone about a Nissan Note and all their life they've been driving a Mercedes, they may not really know the best knowledge about this. So if you know someone who has that Nissan Note, ask them for advice. Because I feel like if you talk to someone who has a different kind of car, they tend to give you a negative perception of the car, something they really never experienced, but they just have a negative perception to it, and just learn to filter out. Remember when I was getting the Nissan Note, a lot of people are talking about how the gearbox is bad and all that. But personally, I've had the car for over a year, and I haven't experienced all these negative things that people say about it. Like, you see, like for me, the car is working just fine. I don't know, just pray for discernment so that you know what is good and what is bad. But personally, I can never complain about my car. Like, it's the best thing I ever got for myself. I mean that. So ask around, ask friends, walk to dealership, get into the car. I'm mostly talking about us tall babes, because I know a lot of you tall girls follow me. Like, for us, it's so important for the legs to fit, because we're already tall, we don't want to struggle. And if this also applies for you if you're short, because if you're short, you really want to fit well. Hautaki kukaa hivi kwa steering wheel, like you want to fit. So get into it and just see what works for you. And then the other thing, it's also related to this, just know what it is you're using the car for. Like for me, I just needed a car to get from point A to point B, just for convenience, because I realized I was starting to use so much money on taxis. So I was like, I'd rather just get a car. I've told this to my friends, but I used to hate how, like, you could ask for a taxi and they, like, for example, you have a lot of mizigo, you have a lot of baggage, and they're not helping you put it in. They are telling you to sijui walk mpaka wapi ndo pick up. Like, just those small inconveniences were really starting to irritate me, and those are the moments I was like, I need a car. Or around Christmas, when you like have to go to Ushago, and you understand, like, you just don't want to go queue and fight with people for matatu. Unapanga laini matatu asubuhi, by the time unapata matatu sijui ni saa 9. Like, it's so convenient. It's so convenient. I tell people this a lot of time, get a car. And if it's just like, you see, in my case, it's just me. If I'm carrying someone, it's my sister or a friend or that. So you see, for me, getting a kadudu made sense. Yeah, you see. But if, for example, you're a woman who has 2 children, a husband, a house help, you see, a kadudu will not work for you, because how are they going to fit? Especially if the children are maybe in car seats, they won't fit. So just do what works for you. So for someone like that, they'll need a bigger car. Personally, my kadudu was just chef kiss, convenient and all that. This will also bring me to the 6th point, which is fuel consumption. Know about fuel consumption, girl. Like, don't go buying a new car and you don't know how much fuel it consumes. With the current prices of fuel, you better know. So in regards to that, when I bought my car, I think fuel was around 120 something, and then it shot to 179. Like, I could take time, but it shot. So think about that, because currently the cost of the dollar is going up. The cost of living is going up. Every shilling counts. So think about that when you are buying a car. And in terms of fuel, I don't know if this is a true theory or not. Leave a comment and tell me. But if you can fuel your car full tank, get a full tank, and then, like, yeah, acha ikusukume masiku kadhaa, because I feel like ukieka ya 500, 1000, 2000, 500, it doesn't tend to last as long. I don't know if this is just a theory I have, but if you can, fuel full tank, okay? I also got that tip from a friend, and I saw it works. Because if you think about when I fuel a full tank, I always tell people this: I'm able to go to Nakuru, I'm able to Zurura, Nakuru, go to town 2, 3, 4, 5 days and go back to Nairobi. And for me, a full tank is roughly 6,000 plus there. Mine is just 1200 cc, so it doesn't consume a lot of, you understand? The next thing is resale value, depreciation of your car. A lot of people in Kenya are like, resale value. What's the resale value of a Toyota? Oh, Toyota have higher resale values. This Nissan Note have lower resale value. In as much as, yes, you need to put that into consideration, I feel like, this is just my opinion, I feel like, don't think about that too much. Like, yes, all cars depreciate, all cars do this, but let that not hinder you, because at the end of the day, if you're buying a car, you're buying this long term. You're thinking of you don't want to think about cars for the next 5 years, 4 years, maybe 1 year. Don't think about that, because a good example is myself. The price I got my car for, if I was to sell it now, I'd actually make profit, because the value of cars now, because the dollar went up, importing a car in Kenya went up. So if I was to sell that car today, I'd still sell it for more than what I got it for. So and a lot of people told me like, oh, Nissan hainanga resale value, but if I was to sell it today, I genuinely mean it, I'd sell it at the price I got it for, or more, way more. Another thing I'd never thought about was insurance. Servicing the car, and like you just think at, oh, I'll buy a car and then after that all I'll have to do is fuel. No, baby girl, no. So many things that you need to do. You need to pay for insurance, you need to pay for service. Something will break down, I assure you. Something itaribika kwa hiyo gari, utagonga kando ya barabara, utagongwa. Like, think about all those things. Like, this is money you literally need to have somewhere. Like, have like a safety kit for money, so that in case these things do happen, you have money for that. And also think about insurance, because currently the cost of insurance in Kenya has gone up, and some insurance companies are not covering some cars, because I don't know which insurance company this is, because I felt like I looked at it towards the end of the year, but I don't remember. But for the kadudus, there's some insurance companies that are just not covering them, because they feel like they're more prone to accidents and all that, so they're not viable for them to cover them anymore. So think about that. And in case you're getting a car, if it's possible, get a comprehensive insurance, because I know for some cars, I think if it's older than 10 years, I may be wrong, but if it's older than a certain amount of years, let me not say 10 because I don't know how many years, if it's older than a certain amount of years, the insurance company won't take comprehensive. So you have to think about that. But if it's possible, get a comprehensive insurance cover. Okay, girl? My 8th point is you will change your mechanic. Ask your friends for mechanics. Have 2 mechanics. I think you should have 2. That's just my opinion. Have 2 mechanics. That only those 2 people can touch your car, and I hope you get trustworthy mechanics that you can trust, you understand? So only have 2 people who can touch your car that you really believe. But don't feel bad about changing your mechanic. The first time I was like, I felt so guilty about going to a different person, but don't feel bad about that. It's normal, because at the end of the day, you need to understand each other. Lazima mkuwe na a good rapport with the mech. Like, you understand, you need a good rapport with them. In regards to the mechanic and changing mechanics, is because, why I'm saying this is because utagongwa. Aki utagongwa. Sijui why they usually gonga dems ama. Like, me niligongwa. Personally niligongwa. So after nigongwa, I was like, I'm not going back to you. Let me get another one. It's part of the process. You don't have to go through that, but if you do go through it, it's part of the process. Kugongwa na mechanic. So the moment you see mtu anakugonga, get another one, because you're not a cash cow. My 9th point is you need a friend on dial. I mean this. I wish I knew, but you need a friend on dial. You need a friend to call whenever you're having problems with the car. First time I got a puncture, I didn't know what to do. I didn't think about what do people do when they get a puncture. Like, what do they do? So have a friend, because sometimes I also realize your common sense leaves the body. Like, the moment you get a puncture, the moment you get hit, you need a friend to like call and tell them, hey, mtu akipata puncture anafanyanga nini? Like, I never even thought about that. But if you're watching this and you also don't know, like, you just go to the nearest petrol station, the place where they're pumping air, and yeah, they'll sort you out. Yeah, they'll sort you out, definitely. They'll charge you roughly 150 to 200, because the first time I did this, niligongwa by the way. Niligongwa. So yeah, 150 to 200. I didn't know about what happens mtu akikugonga. Like, yo, like, these are things that I genuinely wish I knew. But mtu akikugonga, don't panic, because most likely, ama pia ukigonga mtu, because pia unaweza gonga mtu, you see. But don't panic. I know you will panic, but try not to panic. And if you do panic, try not to show it, okay? If you need to breathe, breathe. But relax and then go. Kama ni yako na makosa, take a picture of the car, take a picture of the driving license, take a picture of, you know, all this. If it's the person who's on the wrong, they'll acknowledge they're on the wrong. Or if it's you who's on the wrong, you'll acknowledge you're on the wrong. If it's something small, muongee venye mtafixiana. If you need to go through the police station, but just have someone on dial who knows these things, and they'll just help you. Hata kama itakuwa a friend that during that time utaambia watu acha tuongee na mzee. Cause like usikubali wa kufrustrate, cause I feel like they can overwhelm you and make you want to make a decision then, but don't allow them to overwhelm you. Just call this person first so that they can think on your behalf. Literally, I mean that, think on your behalf, because at that time you're not thinking. Last but not least is you need to have money. Have a random 50 bob, 100, 200 cash. You need to have cash. 2 reasons. One, the person who anakwekeanga hewa, you have to give them money. Like, I don't know if people do this, leave a comment and tell me, but lazima umpe pesa. Like, haizi kufanyia hiyo kitu for free. Okay, kama unajiekeanga hewa, maybe you don't relate to this. Personally, mimi sijui kueka hewa kwa gari, but land basics pia. Hata kama unaekewa land basics, jua that your car needs 35. Mine needs 35. I don't know how much yours needs, but mine needs 35. Okay? So, kuwa na pesa ya kupea huyu mtu, or at some point you need to go park somewhere, maybe in a mall or somewhere, you need cash. Because sometimes when you try to pay with them pesa, those things never work. So have cash with you. Have cash with you. Now that we are finished with this video, I have a question for all of you watching. If I have paid for parking in Nairobi town and I go to Westlands, do I need to pay for parking in Westlands? Or if I go to Upper Hill, do I need to pay for that? That's something that I've never been sure about. I've seen people say that you don't need to, or you need. So if you have the correct information, leave a comment and tell me, because I wanna know about paying for parking. If you pay for parking, by this I mean kulipa kanjo. If you pay for parking there, do you need to pay for parking when you go to ST, Upper Hill, Ukotao, for example? Just, yeah, tell me. That is all I had for today's video. Don't forget to subscribe, like, share it with a friend, and don't forget to leave your comments and some of the things you felt I left out. I am waiting to read your comments. I'm looking forward to them. I'll see you again in my next video, okay? Bye! I forgot to say a very important thing. Please be stingy with your car. Treat that thing like a baby. Usipe kila mtu. Like, have just people that you really trust that you can give this car. Don't give every Tom, Dick and Harry. I don't care if, unless you bought it for the purpose of commercial use, be stingy with your car. Don't give it to everybody, okay? Be stingy. Only you and the people who you trust can drive it. Otherwise, usipe mtu mwingine.